Hey guys, Morgan's Maintenance. Today's tool review, or partially a tool talk, I guess, is going to be on the Veto Pro MP series of pouches. I've grown real fond of these pouches. I really like them a lot. I use them kind of as my go bag now. I have that MCT Tech blackout that I use all the time for my main bag, but I keep these in my truck hanging on a rail that I built in my truck it's just my quick grab. I grab them and I like to keep them set up for certain things that I typically do. And then that way I don't have to move tools around very often. So that's how I use these. But now I just recently picked up the MPX. That's the smallest one. This one was not available in the original series of the MP1, MP2, like this MP1 here. But now this is a new offering that they have that's a little bit smaller than the rest. So I now have the MPX. I have the MP1, which has now been, kind of changed over to the MP1X. They don't sell these anymore, but the pouch layout, all that stuff's exactly the same. And then now I also have the MP2X. So in this video, you'll see the features of all three of these, including the MPX. But I thought I got this big pile of tools over here, a bunch of different sizes, some 10-inch wrenches, some 7 1/4, longer screwdrivers, bigger screwdrivers. I'm going to show you kind of just throw stuff in these, and then we'll see what fits. And my goal behind this video is to help you, if you're going to buy one of these, to make the best decision so that you don't have to buy two of them in the long term, because you get the right one the first time, the one that's going to best suit whatever it is that you do for a living. So that way, if maybe you buy the MP1, you think, man, I wish I'd have got the MPX because I really wish it was just a hair smaller. It sticks out too far. Or I wish I'd have got the one that had a little bit more room and went ahead and got the MP2X. That's the go. I want to help you make that decision with this. In this video, I don't normally wear gloves. I'm going to wear gloves for two reasons. One is it's a little bit chilly out here in my garage. It's finally starting to get cold. And the second thing is I ate Wingstop for lunch, and I had the original wings. And if any of you've done that, your fingers are going to be orange for 3 days. It's like they put dye or something in that. But let's go ahead. I'm going to empty these out. I'll show you the sizes, the pockets, all those things of all three of them. And then we'll start playing with these tools, see what fits, and then hopefully you can make the best decision possible. So let's go ahead and get into this. So starting out with cost and features and pockets and all those things, that's the thing about these there's not a big difference in cost between the smallest and the biggest. So you're looking at 70, 90, 100, especially between these two. It's a $10 difference. So then that makes it harder, in my opinion, for you to make the right choice, because you're like, well, what if I would just rather spend $10 more and get a bigger one? But then sometimes you get that bigger one and it's too big, but then the cost difference makes you say to yourself, well, I'm gonna go ahead and get the biggest one because it's only $10 more. Sometimes that's what our brains do to us. So again, not a lot of difference between the price. They're all expensive, in my opinion. But the MPX is gonna run you $70. It's the smallest one of the bunch. It's 9 inches tall, and then it's 5 inches wide, and then it's only 3.5 inches deep from here to here. And that's the biggest difference to me on this, is that it's not going to stick out from your body if you put that on your belt near as much. And I'll show you all three of these kind of on me and my person later on in the video, just to give you an idea of how they look on a person. But again, this one's the smallest one, and it's not going to fit very many tools, but maybe it fits all the tools you need and you don't want to over bulk yourself, then this might be the way for you to go for certain situations. All three of these are going to have this right here on it as well, which allows you to do that kickstand feature. So if you want to take it off your belt, set it somewhere, I think that's a nice feature on all three of these. That's one of the main things that I actually really like about it. And then you can also put this supposedly in your back pocket. I don't ever do that, but I do use these in my Veto Tech MCT in those small pockets on the front. I use these to kind of carry this inside with me with my tool bag if I'm taking both in at the same time. So it does come useful for me with that. So again, $70. This one's got 4 pockets plus 2, so 6 total pockets. You have one here, and then you also have a smaller one here, but that's really your tape measure clip. So if you use it for a tape measure, in my opinion, you can't hardly ever put tools in there, because when you pull your tools in and out, sometimes it pulls your tape measure in and out. I don't ever put a tape measure on mine, but that's what this is for. It's got 2 really small pockets here that are kind of in a way useless, which I'll show you in a little bit. And then 2 pass-through pockets for longer pliers, longer screwdrivers. You can see how you can see all the way through. That one and that one comes out the bottom there. All three of these have that feature on it. So $70, 6 total pockets altogether, and the smallest of the bunch. Now we get over to the MP1, middle-sized, and this one has 9 pockets plus 2 pass-through, so a total of 11 pockets. This one measures 10 inches high, so it's a 1/2 inch taller. That's the MP1X, not necessarily this one. So the one that you're going to be able to buy is going to be 10 inches, but everything on the MP1X is identical right here, with the exception of it's blacked out like what these two are, and you're going to have that clip like what you have here instead of this belt loop. That's kind of their newest thing on that. But as far as the pouch setup, where the pockets are and all that, it's exactly the same, so you're not going to really get much difference with that. So you have two pockets back here in the back, then you have two up here in the front that are very similar in size to those in the back. You've got this bigger pocket here, and then this one and this one. So to me, the MPX is pretty much, if you get rid of all this in the back and you just look at that front right there, it's pretty close to what that is. It's actually a little bit, you get smaller pockets for this and you get rid of that, but you're losing basically the whole back side of this MP1X. And again, with this one being 10 inches, 5 inches, and 4.5 inches deep, that's where you're losing that extra inch, is right in that general area. And it's also a little bit shorter, which is going to come into play with some longer tools in a little bit. So again, that's the pocket configuration on this one. Let me just go ahead and get you an overall look of that. And it's going to cost you $20 more to go from the MPX to the MP1X. And then you get into the MP2X, the biggest one of the bunch. This one's going to run you $100, so $10 more than the MP1. This one has 11 pockets plus 2, so 13 overall pockets. But they're all kind of, this one's a total different configuration than that of these two. These two are very similar in a way, the MPX and the MP1X. But the MP2 is like having the MP1X, but with some extra pockets that are just really made for screwdrivers, in my opinion. But you can fit some smaller pliers in there. But you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And then the two pass-throughs are right there, as you can see. So again, a total of 13 pockets altogether, 11 plus the two pass-through. And this one measures 10.5 inches tall, so it's a ½ inch taller than the MP1X, 6 inches wide. So it's a 1 inch wider than the MP1X, and then it's 5 inches deep, which is a ½ inch deeper. So if you compare the two of those side by side, you can see how much more one is going to stick off your side than the other. And then especially if you get down to the smaller MPX, it gets even smaller at that point, and they're just a lot smaller right there. But I'll show you right now all three of them on my person. That way you can get a rough idea of what they look like. So here's the MPX, the smallest one of the bunch. You put that on, you can see how far that kind of sticks off of your side. It doesn't stick off real far. And again, I normally carry my surge or my installation driver in that tape measure clip. So to me, this also kind of gives me a holster for my drill, along with me being able to keep a couple tools on there, as it works really well with the belt clips on both of those. But that's going to probably cause you to lose that extra tool that you're going to be able to keep in there. But there's an idea of what the MPX looks like on your side. Now here's the MP1. Again, you'll have the MP1X if you buy one today that's going to have that clip. I have to unbutton this, wrap it through my belt in order to put this on instead of having that clip. And now your MP1X will also sit up a little bit higher, but you can see the comparison of that sticking out on my side versus that of the MPX. If I stick that on there, this one's going to stick out a little bit less. This one's going to hold more tools, be a little bit heavier. But again, they're all easy to reach, easy to get to, easy to slide your stuff in and out of. That's one of the big things I like about the Veto pouches. But there's the MP1 on the side right there. And then last, you're going to get the MP2X, the biggest of the bunch. Again, they all have that clip right, or this extra pouch too, where they say you can put it in your back pocket. I don't ever do that, but here it is on my side. Definitely bigger than the MPX for sure. I don't know that it drastically feels bigger to me than the MP1X, but to me also, with it sitting up a little higher, it's a little bit easier for me to get access to these things. And again, I can still use this as a belt clip for my drill or whatever else I want to use it for. So here it is in comparison to the MP1. You can see that on my side. If I take and put that on there, that's kind of the size comparison. These two are closer to me than what that MPX is. The MPX is definitely smaller. So there's a comparison of those two. And then you compare it to the MPX. Definitely a whole lot smaller in size on your person. So now let's get into what can you fit in these things. The MPX, again, the smallest of the pouch. You've got this biggest pocket right here, and in my opinion, the biggest thing that you probably want to put in this is a pair of maybe lineman's pliers, something like that. Here's the knipex. These are the 240s. You can put those in there, but you can see how tall that sticks up because this isn't near as long of a pouch as the other. You're losing about an inch or so in comparison to the other two, ½ inch and then an inch total. So it's really made for some smaller type tools. Here's a pair of 200s diagonals from knipex. To me, that's more of the fit that you might be looking for. I was planning on running these with the snap-on Talon grips, but actually those fit pretty decent right over in the side. So you can carry maybe a smaller, finer point pair of pliers like this, and then maybe you could come back in with some 7 1/4 Cobras if you wanted to, put those in here, and then carry your all-in-one type screwdriver like this Klein Impact 11-in-1 ratcheting. I could put that down in here, and these pockets on this one are a little bit tighter than my others because it's fairly new. But there's 3 pairs, or maybe you do want to carry a bigger pair. Let me show you what a pair of 10-inch Cobras would look like inside of here, because I know a lot of people carry 10-inch Cobras, and sometimes that's a question asked. Will they fit down in there? Yes. Again, they do stick up kind of high, so you just got to take that in consideration. I thought about maybe running my longer snap-ons, but in my opinion, they fit. But that might be a little bit tight as well, but that may still be what I end up doing. And then again, up here on the front, it just depends on what you want to put on it. You can put a tape measure on there if you want to. I don't carry a tape measure on mine. Maybe you want to carry a light with you, like a little clip light or something like that. These small pockets right up here in the front, they are to me basically only usable for something that you're going to attach on with a clip or something, like maybe a fastback knife or something. You could carry that on there and have it kind of on the outside, or maybe you've got a bit holder. I know I've got some of those laying around here somewhere, or a bit that you want to carry that you can put in and out of your screwdriver, because again, you don't have very much room for a bunch of screwdrivers, but you can also, again, carry, as long as you carry one that you can change bits in and out of. That's one of those longer, like 3-inch, 4-inch bits right there, or you can put you a bit holder, bit driver down inside of it. They don't hold a whole awful lot. To me, it's really useless, because to me, the thing that you would think you would use would be like a thermostat screwdriver or something, but the blades on most of them, you can put it in there, but you can see how tall that sticks up. I don't like for my stuff, if it's in layers like this, personal preference for me is I don't really like for it to, the front stuff to be sticking up taller than the back stuff, because then it makes it hard to get in here to these. So that's just a rough idea. Again, to me, you can also put another pair of pliers if you don't need anything else. If you don't need something else in here, obviously you can stick another pair of pliers. That's the 6 1/4, I believe it is, the 160 step cuts. You could put something like that down in there and carry another pair of pliers. So a couple screwdrivers, couple pairs of pliers, whatever it is, that's about all you're going to get into it, is really 4 tools basically, and then maybe a couple accessories. That's what you're going to fit in that MPX. It just doesn't hold a lot, but again, that's not going to stick off my body near as much as what these other ones are going to. So MPX, that's what you got. Now let's look at the MP1, which I have a loadout video for this of how I generally used to keep it, but now I kind of swap around and it changes some. So this one's a little bit bigger. So if I take that 10-inch Cobra, you remember how far it stuck up over there? This one actually goes down in there pretty well. So this pocket back here is quite a bit deeper. This right here is probably about the same as that front pocket or the back pocket on the MPX. So you're going to be able to get a little bit bigger tool back here. You could probably even fit a couple pairs of pliers in that one pouch pocket if you really wanted to, if you didn't mind that they're kind of rubbing in and out whenever you go in and out. So you can for sure get a couple in there if you wanted to. You can also, again, take you a pair of linesman's pliers. That's how big those are. They fit in that next pocket. Then I could also take a pair of the knipex angled. These are the 180s, I think, too. No, these are 200s. So you can take and put those in there. So 3 big pairs of pliers, if I really, really wanted to, you can fit those in there. And then, of course, you got all kinds of room for screwdrivers. This back one, even though it's not a pass-through, if you've got a shorter screwdriver, this one's a 80 millimeter long Vera. It's the PH1. It fits in there decent. And then if I took the Phillips number 2, I could put it in this one, and then we'll find the number 3 wherever I've got that one at that matches, or the slotted, I mean, stick that in this side. You still got room for maybe a pair of Cobras or something, a smaller pair. These are the 7 1/4s, the 180s. You'd have to put them in maybe like that if you wanted to. And then the thing about this pouch, these are the ones I typically use whenever I do electrical work. You've got plenty of room because these pockets are decent size for a non-contact voltage tester. And then you could also put maybe a flashlight or something like that if I can find one. A flashlight, like maybe a pin light or something over in the other one if you wanted to, or you could get rid of that flashlight. Maybe you need to carry a pencil to mark on stuff. A Pica pencil fits in those pockets as well. And then you still have these 2 little bitty ones that are tucked in there. They're hard to get at. You can actually use those for a thermostat screwdriver. You get a decent amount sticking down in there. I think I normally run the little Klein multi one in and out of this one. Let me see if I can find that one laying around here. It's right here. That's the one that normally I fit down inside of that one. And then over here, if you really wanted to, you could carry your Malco or some kind of bit, stick that down in there. So lots of tools inside of that one. You can see that I've got it pretty full. Lots of work that could be done. So really 3 decent sized pair of pliers, or at least 2. And again, you could double this one up if you found 2, but they're going to be tight to get in and out, and get you another one and then put you something else here. But I would say 3 pairs of pliers, and then also a couple screwdrivers for sure. It may be 3 depending upon what the sizes are. Small pairs of pliers, you might could get a couple more. And then you got some accessories like a non-contact tester, pencil, all those things up there in the front. But this definitely holds quite a bit more than that of the MPX. But again, that's what it's meant to do. And then you get into the MP2X, which is the biggest of the bunch. Let's say, again, I take some 10-inch pliers. Here's a 10-inch pliers wrench, which is quite a bit bigger than even the Cobra that's in that one, and put that in there. That will also go in there. But in my opinion, and again, this is just me, that makes it weird to get whatever you've got back there out. So I like the setup of this for electrical work because I carry more screwdrivers than I do pliers. I don't really like it for putting big pairs of pliers right there. So I would take something like either my forged wire strippers is actually normally what I have in there. So I take my forged wire strippers, got them closed up. Those are what I normally keep in there. And then I typically would put the diagonals, my angle diagonals. These are the knipex 74-21-200s. Those normally sit right here. I also bought 2 of the 150 pliers, the Cobras and the pliers wrench. I bought them specifically for this bag because I like the 7 1/4s, but I don't mind these. I use these and the 7 1/4s way more than I use 10-inch. And both of these, if you have them in that closed position, they fit in these little side pockets right here fairly well. They just slide right in and out of there. And personally, I like my tool handles to be pointing up too, instead of like how I have the Cobras on that MP1. You can do that. It's not a big deal, but I personally like them better like this. And then I have the same size of the pliers wrench that I keep down on this side. And then you get into the through holes. You can either put pliers, maybe something like these. If you wanted to put another pair of needle nose, you can obviously put them in there, because then they can stick out of the bottom and they will sink down in there. But typically, most of the time, people use those for screwdrivers. I use my tang through vessels with that ceramic ball. I have the Phillips I put in one side. I have the slotted I put in the other. And then I also sometimes carry my vessel electric screwdriver in with this. That way I can change that to whatever bit I need if I'm using 3 screwdrivers. So if I want an ECX bit, whatever else I need, I can put it in here, a square number 2. I can put it in this because I don't have them there. And to me, that's what these 2 slots back here are really good for. You can use those for extra screwdrivers, but you can, again, still stick pairs of small pliers in those if you really want to. They will fit in there, but I personally don't think it really works really great for pliers, but that's an option that you can use them for. So normally someone would just put another screwdriver back in there, or if these 2 are longer, maybe we'll go with those back here, put this one there and another one there. It just depends on if you're a person who uses multiple screwdrivers and you like to have dedicated. And then again, that leaves you with the up front pockets up here, very similar to the MP1. That's going to leave you room for a voltage tester if you want to slide that in one. Then you can also use one for a thermostat screwdriver, whether you want to go with that pocket there, or you can go over here into this pocket. I normally run it in that pocket. And then these 2 pockets right here, I don't really use for tools so much, but I use them maybe to clip on, my light or something else that I'm carrying with me. There's the Olight Arc Flex. And then you can also put a bit of some kind, a 5/16 Malco or something if you want to. Let's see what I can find, or an Inkzall or a Pica pencil, whatever you want. So basically you have, to me, less plier pouches in this one, even though, or less bigger pliers, I'll say. You can fit a lot more tools in this MP2X because it has a few more pouches. But they're typically going to need to be smaller tools because the layout is completely different. So that's all three of them with some configurations. Again, the configurations are endless. Depends on what brand tools you have, how big they are, which ones are going to fit where. But hopefully I give you a rough idea. My basic opinion on these are, if the MPX is for the person who just has a couple tools, they know that's all they're ever going to need. They want to have the least amount of weight possible on them. They also don't want it sticking out from their body because they're going to bump into stuff in someone's home or whatever it is. If you've got a certain set of tools for a task that you do over and over and over again all day long, that one might be the way to go. The MP1 kind of steps you up to where I need those tools, but every now and then maybe I need just a few more, because you can always just not load this thing out. I know that's typically what we do. If we've got an empty pocket, or at least I do, I find something to stick in it. So that's kind of the advantage of this one, is it's not going to allow you to do that. But sometimes you might do this and you need a few more tools. The MP1 or the MP1X allows you to have a couple decent sized pair of pliers, basically some 10 inches if that's what you got, whatever it is. And then you can also carry your screwdrivers along with some accessories like a non-contact voltage tester, pencil, flashlight, all those things. There's not a lot of room for accessories on this. This is basically a couple tools and that's it. This one you can kind of add a few extra things in if you need them. This one's kind of more so the go-to, in my opinion, for what most people would probably need. And then the MP2X, even though it's bigger and only $10 more, you're kind of limited with the pocket layout on big tools. So if you're someone who carries a lot of 10-inch pliers, I don't think you're going to like the MP2X. I think you'd probably be better off actually to get the smaller MP1 pouch, because this one's more for someone like me. I primarily use that 7 1/4, 8-inch or below pliers. I can fit several of those in here along with screwdrivers and things like that. And this pouch works out great for that. But again, it's also bigger, sticks out from your body more, going to make you bump into things. So that's all three pouches, a little bit of loadout, a little bit of comparison between the three. And again, hopefully I'm just helping you make the right decision. So yeah, guys, that's the Veto Pro MPX, MP1X, and MP2X. Even though mine's the MP1, they only have MP1X now. Hopefully today I helped you make the decision if one of these is the right pouch for you and which one that is. Or maybe I even helped you make the decision that none of these are the right one for you based on the cost, and then it's not really going to work with whatever it is that you're doing. And I hope that that's the case if that is, because again, my goal always is not to make you buy a tool, but to help you figure out if one is the right tool for you to buy it. It doesn't matter to me if you buy a tool or whether you don't, if you have any of the tools I have, and if you don't, none of that matters. I'm just showing you what I've got, how I use them, how it might work for you, and then you can make the decision from there. But hope it was useful in some way. If you have any of these, comment down below how you use them, what you do for a living. That might help someone as well. If they're in the same exact line of work as you and you say, I have the MP1 and I love it because of this, they might read that and say, I didn't think about that. I think the MP1 is going to be better for me. So anyways, comment down below what you guys think. Hope it was useful in some way. But as always, you guys stay safe. Have a blessed day. And I'll see you on the next video.